Today's January 16th, 2023. I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I haven't been able to figure this out. I haven't figured out how to resolve this issue. Day trading seems to be beyond my grasp. Maybe it's because I am attempting to define what gravity is. That Isaac Newton defined. He was the first person to define gravity. It seems to me I am doing the same thing. I am attempting to define gravity at this situation. And that's what day trading seems to be. It is a world where I haven't conclusively defined one successfully useful day trading setup. I have not. The reason I say that is because it seems to work for a while, but when the market changes, it does not work. So that means I have to move, I have to adjust. I have to figure out what to do when the market changes. So it seems to work really well in a bullish market, what I do. But when it's bearish, what I do is completely converse of what I do. So what do I do? What do I do? Where do I go from here? How do I figure this out? How do I figure this? It's now, it's time, it's now or never. I have enough information in order to become a consistently profitable day trader right now. I have enough information. I have all that I have learned. I have reached a point where I have spent the past 2 years trying to figure this out. And it's within my grasp. It's here. I can take care of it. It's available. It's possible. It is available. It will be done. It can be done. So what do I do from here? Where do I go from here, and how do I make it work? Okay? So figure it out. Just figure it out. And I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm gonna keep telling you this because it's already there. You have it. You have enough information to make it work. It's within your grasp. You have it. So let's figure this out. The method I use is only good when the market is bullish. But it does not work when it is bearish. So what I need to do is figure out, bingo. What I need to do is figure out whether the market is bearish or bullish. That's all I have to figure it out. And I can use the reverse strategy when the market is bearish. That's all I need to figure out. So that's the challenging part. So when the market is moving in a bullish trend, my method will work really well. All boats float on rising tide. All boats sink on a falling tide. Essentially, that's what it is. So I need to figure out. So I can use practically any method that I have, any setup, any kind of conclusion that I have, and it'll work even better if I am able to define whether the market is bullish or bearish. So I can utilize certain things based on whether the market is bearish or bullish. If I can figure that out, if I can figure that portion out, then I can flip it. I can use it for that day. For that particular day, is it bullish or is it bearish? If I can figure something out, if I can figure that part of it out, then whatever method that I have will work for that day. Whatever method it is. Whatever I do, however I use it, however, oh. Whatever happens, however happens, any way it is done, any way it will be done. It can be done and it will be done. So all I have to do is that whatever happens, all I have to do is figure out whether the market is bullish or whether the market is bearish. If I can just figure that out, somehow figure that out. What is bullishness and what is bearishness? What is that? It's the trend. When the trend is moving up or moving sideways, I have the ability to use my current setup to make significant gains. I know it. The amount of trade that I made substantiates that I have the advantage. Anybody has an advantage. when the market is bullish, everybody has an advantage. Everybody does. So now, then how do I define bearishness? How do I define it? How do I define the bearishness? So when the bearish indicator is flagged, then I know to go with a reverse trend. How do I do that? How do I figure this out? How do I make it work? How do I make it so that things do work? How do I make it work? How? How is it going to work? How will it work? How? When? Where? Why? How? Now, all I have to do, okay, let's put it this way. This is very, very good. This is very, think about this. If the market, I know for a fact, I even made this statement in the past. I said to myself, a day like today, I could fall down backwards and still make money. That means that the day is so bullish that whatever I do, I make money. That's what a bullish market does. That's what it is. When the market is bullish, I could buy anything and I'll make money. That's essentially how it works. Now, the times that I lose money is thinking, being habituated into thinking that way, and then I do the same method except that day is bearish, which essentially just wipes out my account. So I need to define what a bearish market is. Bear. I need to know the bear. What is a bear? A bear has thick fur. Some bears do. Some bears have they look like a bear. You know what a bear is. They look like wolves, except that they're the bears, right? And so they look like wolves, but they're bears essentially, right? So they lumber along. They're bigger. They're much bigger than a wolf, and they have, for instance, one type of breed essentially is significantly bigger, and it has big teeth, just like a wolf, but it's not a wolf, but it's a bear. So how do I define a bear? So I need to define what a bear is. And so when the bear is in hibernation, all boats float when the tide rises. But when the bear wakes up, all boats sink. And that is when I lose money. So how do I figure out what each day is supposed to be? Is it a bullish day? Is it a bearish day? So I need to figure this out. So now, practically in many of the cases when the trend is moving up, it's bullish. And so there will be streaks of periods where substantial amount of gains are there, whether regardless of what the condition is, I'll make money. That's essentially what that means. The times that I lose the money is the time when the market suddenly becomes bearish. When the market turns red, that's when I lose money. Or when it fluctuates up and down or sideways, whichever where it is about to flicker between, when I look at the street light, it's about to turn red, orange, or green. When it's red, it's consistently red. It stays red for a while. When it's orange, that means that there's a, if you look at the I'm looking at the 10th and Main right now, and currently the one-way street is going this way, and currently it's red. It's red. It has been red for a few seconds, and it'll remain red for a while. And then it'll turn green, but before turning green, it'll turn orange. Orange means that there's fluctuations, and then it'll turn green. Now it's green, which means it's going to change. So it was down, fluctuates, and then goes up. So that's essentially how it works, or goes up and it fluctuates and goes down. So essentially that is the movement in totality of the market. And so how do I identify a bearish market? This is something that I have never treaded on, never thought about, never essentially ever entered into my mind about what market conditions are. I just went with it and hoped it would be in that situation. And when the market all of a sudden turned, I just kept doing it for 3 or 4 more days until my account just dropped to virtually nil. Now the situation has occurred where something has altered. Essentially, I see the corner. When I did not know anything about the market trends, I thought all the way that way from here to $1 million was just straight up and up and up and up and up, and there was no corner. But now that I know that the reason why I lose money is because when the market turns red and I'm going the other way, that's when my money becomes sour and decreases, and that's where the corner is. That's the corner right there. That is the corner. That is the corner. Okay? That's turning the corner. Before, when I was so novice that I could not see the corner. It's just one way to $1 million. Just one way to $1 million. Just one way to $1 million right there, from 0 to 1 million. And and I know that out of last year, I had like 90 occasions where it would just essentially take my 1 month of gain and just shrink it down to like minus. So essentially, turning the corner means, wow, this is incredible. This is very, very powerful. This is something that it's like man finding fire. It's like Moses going up to the mountain and seeing God in a burning bush. It's like Jesus, it's like man seeing Jesus Christ coming onto his boat and hearing Jesus Christ say, "See, be calm." And then it's like man huddled around Jesus Christ. And Jesus Christ told these people, which have been passed down from generations and generations and generations to today, right now, where he uttered these words from the Father to the Son, and he said, Our Father, you will pray like this, he said. He guided us from heaven to him to earth. And he said to me, 2,000 years later, he said, you will pray like this. And he said, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. That's what Jesus Christ said over 2,000 years ago. Over roughly about 2,000 years ago. That's what he said. And it is the same thing as me becoming aware of this situation, because it seems so obvious, but the emotion and the gambling side and the addiction and FOMO and all those things have clouded me from seeing what 1 + 1 is equal to 2 meant, because I would only see 1 + 1 and I would say that's 1 1 1 1 1 1, never getting to the fact that it is 2. Essentially that's what gambling does. Gambling is essentially erupting the emotional and addictive personality that floods the mind and the chemicals that are in the body, and it causes a chemical reaction, and that chemical reaction erupts every time I'm placed in the same situation. When the market bell rings, ding, 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 when that rings, there's a trickle of chemical reaction that occurs that causes my mind to just get wiped out, essentially. And that wiping out causes my whole existence to become addictive in a trance. And that trance causes me to forget about everything else. And it essentially creates a thick, very, very, very impermeable, impenetrable wall between a basic, essential ideas and a logical side of myself. It detaches me from the logical side. It essentially distorts, it blocks, it essentially creates a cavernous divide between myself and the most simple logic of put one foot behind the other, put one foot in front of the other in order to walk. That's what happens. That is something that has occurred to me so far. It just never occurred to me. The first primary impact of understanding in the market is being able to see the corner. Seeing the corner means when I'm a novice, I'm able to see only a straight line. There's no curvature whatsoever. My path is just straight. Believing that when I go there, essentially I'm standing in place, not going anywhere. That's why it's a straight line. But as soon as I make incremental step, then I know where I have been and where I am, and there is a distance between where I am incrementally. That tells me that I will be able to see the corner one day. And that corner essentially is the reversion. That's it. That essentially is the most critical thinking in day trading whatsoever. That is essentially when God said, let there be man. Not let there be man, let there be man. And there was man. And God rested on the seventh day. And God delivered on his promise. He made a promise. He said, let there be man. And man became. And man existed by his word. I find it fascinating now that I am able to see the corner. When I am a novice, I stayed in place, not being able to make any move from year after year after year after year, wondering when that corner is. The reason why I was unable to see the corner is because I was at the same place, at the same time, at the same precise moment, doing the same thing over and over and over. A single point in the universe of the market. To truly see the corner, then, is to see that there is a thing called reversion. When that reversion occurs, it'll either stay in place for a while and continue, and it'll still keep going, and the corner is not there. But when that reversion is there, and then it reverses, then that is the corner. There is a thing called the tipping point. There's a thing called right around the corner. There's a thing called all these things. And God demonstrated. God, let me just give credit to God, okay? Let me tell you how stupid I am. I'll just admit it, okay? When I was living in South Korea at my tender age of 8 or 9 years old, I would not believe anything because nothing was substantiated. Nothing. In reality, there's no way to know anything. Even if somebody told you, hey, that's what it is, but you can't be sure. You cannot be sure. Because what is being sure? There's nothing to be sure. You can't get to sureness unless you believe in Jesus Christ. So that's how stupid I was. Fortunately for me, even though I was that very, very stupid, when I was about 8 years old, I think, maybe 8 years old and 9 years old, I walked into a Catholic church. And then after the Mass, I think I was there during the Mass, and I sat there. And the priest said, come on up. So I went up. I believe I was the only person there. And then I went up to him and at the front, and I stuck my tongue out. And then he placed a biscuit onto my tongue. I have never been a Catholic. I believe it was a Catholic church. Catholic churches do that. I remember it. It tasted, maybe I remember or maybe I don't remember. But it tasted like it actually had some sort of like a floury, crispy texture. It had on the center a crispy, just mundane, just non-existent taste. And then around it, it was like flaky, just a little bit flaky. So I consumed it, and I went away. And then about a year later, I came to the United States. And then I believe that's when I started my journey as a Catholic. I didn't know it. I bounced around between what am I talking about anyway? Well, okay, I'm giving credit to Jesus Christ for helping me see around the corner. Oh, that's right. That's right. I believe it. This is it. This is truly it. This is something that I've like, I mean, just a moment ago, before I started this video, I'm saying to myself, look, man, I mean, you've been doing this for 2 years and you haven't figured it out. You haven't figured out. You need something. And I said to myself, you have everything you need. You've actually taken data and you recorded your trades for the past 2 years. It's sitting there and you see it. You don't even have to think about it. It's there. You know it. You have a visual memory of what's going on. It's actually saved in Excel spreadsheet. You made like 3 additional copies on it. You revved it up so that any changes that you made, now it's there, but you recorded something, which is essentially you had periods where you would be like in a severe drawdown. And you know what that means? It was a bearish market at that time. Okay? Got it? That's the corner. The corner was already there. The corner was there 90 times already. 90 times. The corner was bumping into you and knocking into you, trying to put some sense into you to understand what's going on, that it's there, right? It's there. And here I am. It's been all this time trying to figure this out. And it has been there. God has been telling me this. This is the credit that I give. I'll tell you what. Look at me. I mean, think about it. Think of how stupid you are. I'll just post this. I'm going to post this. And it's like way down. It's like, what is that? Like 26 minutes later. Okay, so here's the situation. You took care of your father. You lost your job taking care of your father. You put him in the hospital so that he could get well so you can bring it back. And then after your father passed away, these 2 siblings sued you and prosecuted you for stealing. Okay? The house that your mom gave you for you to purposely just go visit, okay? Because there was so much animosity between them, and you literally did good, but you were accused and convicted, and your whole life changed because of it. And life has a silver lining despite the fact that you're so stupid. Not you, anybody who chanced upon this video and is watching this thinking that I'm talking about you. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about this guy this guy right there. Nobody else. Just this guy right there. Here, let me point it right there. This guy right there. However, I have to give credit to God. Even though this guy is so stupid that God placed a silver lining in this whole thing. Here's why. I spent 1 full year in a shelter and I lost this eye right in the middle of it. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. Maybe when I was sitting over here and then the window was shining the sunlight directly into my eye, maybe that might have had something to do with it. Or maybe it's this crazy guy who woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and placed his butt into my face and then started to gas out, trying to give me like pink eye. Or maybe I was like dropping fingers and the fumes got into every pore that I have. And maybe that's why when I was driving back, all of a sudden my eyesight went bad. I don't know. The reality is my eyesight went bad. And so I've experienced it. I shared breakfast with homeless people. People like me who is homeless. And I was so fortunate that there were like two or three several people who work there who know what's going on. I was fortunate to be in the presence of essentially a very, very enlightened pastors. Every time I listen to them, something sparks. It's amazing. And to this day, I remember these 2 lines from this one pastor, and he said, "God is good." And the follow-up to that is always. And I remember that, and I spread those words I send that message uh, uh, ad nauseum to one of my coworkers. So he knows. He also knows. He also knows the follow up, which is all the time. So I have to give credit to God. For without God, I would not make that inch step forward. 1 inch step forward to separate myself from point A to point B, to look from the vantage point of point B to see point A, to see what I was missing out, what I need to do. I needed to step away from point A and get to point B, however short distance that was, to place a tremendous amount of gap to see where I am to where I am to where I was, to see the difference. I just ate. To see the difference between where I am, to see truly what seeing around the corner means. And reality, so what I had to do in my trading world was essentially in a such a essentially infantile manner of evolving, becoming a new person under God, and being embraced by God, and becoming something that is totally different. And I would say within that single statement of this guy, traveling blue collar American comedy act, one of the guys who held a Jack Daniels or something, and he starts drinking, and he goes, well, you can't fix stupid. I was stupid. I was. Now I see. So you can fix stupid. Yeah, you can fix stupid. So the reality is, I was at point A, now I'm point B, and point B is right here. And from point B, I can see point A, and I can see where I was. At work today, as I was washing dishes, I had a out-of-body moment. And I was hunched over, tying the knot over the trash bag so I can toss it over the wall into the trash can. Trash bin. And I saw myself. I had this out-of-body moment. That was point B. Point A was me tying the knot. And then point B was me hovering above, and I'm looking at myself. I feel so sorry for you. I feel so sorry for who I am, who have fallen so far down, even though I've tried my best to take care of my parents. Here I am, taking out the trash. Have been doing that for over almost nearly a year and a half. Devoid of everything that I've acquired, everything meaningful in my life has been thrown away, detached and taken away and eroded away, and forced to live in this lifestyle, even physically being deformed. And I'm looking at myself, and I'm doing all this work, and thinking to myself, is it because I'm a convicted felon that I have to work 3 times harder than everybody else? I'm thinking to myself, and I'm doing every work, all the work. I know for a fact that not too many people essentially there are work that people would love to do, and there are work that people just do not want to work on. So I'm like hunched over, tying this trash bag, and I had this out of body moment. That is essentially the turning point, the tipping point, the seeing around the corner. That is the corner. Today I had that experience. That is it. That is seeing around the corner. Seeing around the corner means that if I keep going and there's a corner, it means there's a wall that's right in front of me. And what usually happens when I keep going, when there's a wall in front of me, I lose my money drastically, devastatingly. Therefore, when the corner is there, I need to turn. And the corner wins because usually the corner is made of bricks and rebars and hard surfaces that are harder than the skull and the nose. And so I need to veer, maneuver, perform a reversion move with the corner. And when the market is bearish, then I need to be a bear. I need to think like a bear. I am not a wolf, but I look like a wolf, but bigger and different shades. And I have a different way of growling, and I have a different way of grasping things, and I have a different DNA, and I behave like a bear and take advantage of that bearish trend. That is the corner. I believe, after saying what Jesus Christ said, our Father, okay, I believe truly that's the corner. That is the point where I become consistently profitable. I thought it was something else. I thought it was something different. But I truly believe, now that I logically think about it, it is identifying when the market is bearish, when the market is bullish, and then when the market is moving sideways. And when I can clearly substantiate and distinguish between those situations, then I will be able to avoid those situations where 90%, last year, 90 times, which essentially has taken every penny that I had in the account, and then some, and then some, and then some. Unfortunately, I had other losses in the previous years, which will be carried over. And last year will just add to the carryover in a substantial way. So the corner is essentially moving from a street called Bull Street into Bear Street. That it's like Bruce Lee saying, "Be like water, my friend." Right? Be like water. If I just walk and just run into a wall, that's what I'm doing. I'm just running into a wall. Be like water, my friend. Right? Wow. That is so simple, isn't it? That is so simple. That essentially is so, it's like 1 + 1 is equal to 2. This is so simple that I could not see it. Let me just recap. So you're telling me that seeing around the corner or turning the corner is essentially being able to distinguish between a bull market and a bear market. Bull market and a bear market, and behaving in a different way based on the market condition. That is so simple. That is essentially, wow. That is like discovering gravity.